and welcome to our family farm. Today, we would like to present a proposal for the development of agricultural land in the Heart Lake watershed.
This part of Ontario is in Climate Zone 2, so it is relatively warm compared to much of Canada. It's in Hardiness Zone 5B, which means that plants must be able to withstand a minimum temperature of about -25 degrees Celsius. It has a growing season between 160 and 170 days. Here you see a map of our site. The plots all drain on a 2-degree slope towards the watercourse so that each plot drains equally. There is a buffer strip of 33 meters and a windbreak surrounding the fields.
So according to the scenario, we're growing 2 different types of plants, sweet corn and asparagus. In addition to this, we decided to grow beans, parsnips, and cabbage.
In addition, we will rotate tomato and basil, with the asparagus remaining in its plot as a perennial plant. The other 4 will be rotated each year, with cabbages following beans, following sweet corn, etc. This is because they all require minerals that the others fixate or do not deplete. For instance, the beans fixate nitrogen, which cabbage requires. All of these plants are harvey and thrive in well-drained, slightly acidic, nutrient-rich soil, which are the conditions that we have in our scenario. In addition, leaving residue or organic matter on the soil instead of clearing it will help increase the cation exchange capacity, and thus the nutrient loss from the soil will be minimized, which is important because all of the crops need nutrients such as potassium. Also, once the organic matter is broken down, it will release nutrients that were previously inaccessible to plants in the soil.
Pests are always an issue with agriculture, especially for crops like asparagus. To manage weeds on the asparagus plot, we will spot spray herbicides in areas where weeds are more of an issue. Spot spraying and other precision herbicide application methods reduce the amount of herbicide introduced into the environment, and the riparian buffer would help mitigate the impacts of any runoff. In addition, we will leave plant residue on fields instead of removing it, increasing the organic matter content, and thus the CEC of the soil. The high CEC of the soil will allow it to absorb the cations in any herbicides we may use, preventing them from leaching into the local waterways. We can also use crop rotation to reduce the number of pests affecting the crops, as it disrupts their growing cycles. For asparagus in particular, those crops are often affected by the common asparagus beetle, Caryopteris asperagi. A small wasp, Tetrasticus asperagi, could be introduced, as it parasitizes asparagus beetle eggs and can be up to 70% effective at controlling them, according to the University of Maryland. The eggs can be removed manually from the asparagus stalks in April to May as well. Not as many harmful chemicals will be used, as we will use integrated pest management to minimize the impacts pests have on our crops, especially on vulnerable crops such as asparagus.
The riparian zone will be 33 meters wide to benefit both the aquatic creatures in the stream and the wildlife in the buffer zone itself.
There are many benefits to buffer strips. Reduced soil erosion due to plants slowing wind and water speeds, structural support provided by plant roots for at-risk soil, reducing the rate of slips and slumps, prevention of eutrophication and nutrification, and so on. We'll use primarily coniferous trees, as they produce an acidic soil. In addition, buffer strips provide important riparian habitat for many wildlife species. This will benefit many amphibians, reptiles, and birds, some of which are at-risk species, such as spotted turtles and Canada warblers.
To ensure environmental sustainability, we will be using a drip irrigation system.
This system uses pipes carrying little water at low pressure to irrigate our asparagus. The pipes run alongside the rows of plants and drip directly onto their roots. This minimizes water lost in evaporation, as in spray irrigation, thus cutting back on water waste and salinization in the root area of plants. However, we will only use it for the asparagus as our water resources are limited. Our other plants are less needy, so the climate should allow for their survival. If it is absolutely necessary to irrigate given an unusual season, then short spray irrigation during the evening hours will be used as a means to minimize evaporation but still efficiently irrigate the large remaining plot. We will be further encouraging sustainability by planting a variety of crops and rotating them to ensure the health of the soil for future generations. This also minimizes the need for pesticides due to lesser attraction of pests. Our windbreakers of trees and buffer strips are also intended to ensure that the soil and the water stays healthy with minimal wind erosion or harmful runoff. Financial sustainability is thus encouraged because the watercourse will be less of a liability and the local community will enjoy our different selection of crops each year. The farm will experience a small revenue each year from the crop yields of each plot. When necessary to encourage innovation in farming techniques, grants may be obtained from the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs.
Our crops are arranged so that they can be planted and harvested throughout the year, not requiring a huge amount of labor at any particular time. The year begins 10 weeks before the last spring frost, with indoor planting of cabbage seeds on a cold frame, and 3 weeks before the last frost they are planted along with the asparagus. The beans and corn are then planted 2 weeks after that frost. They are harvested throughout the year, with asparagus near the beginning of the summer and parsnip after the first winter frost. With this plan, we will be able to reduce labor through integrated pest management and a variety of species in harvesting times. We will also be able to contribute to the sustainability of our community by reducing pesticide use and preventing runoff or erosion with our buffer strip. Our goal is to become a model of sustainable farming practices with a new hybrid system using best practices from organic and traditional farming systems.